Look at the deep ocean. It is a world of flawless coral and endless tranquility. But despite its perfect beauty, everything here is strictly temporary. For mermaids like Seraphina, existence is capped at 300 years. When that time ends, there is no afterlife and no legacy. They simply dissolve into sea foam, disappearing from the world forever. Humans possess a different kind of currency, an immortal soul. While their bodies are fragile, their consciousness is believed to persist eternally among the stars, outlasting the ocean itself. To bridge this biological gap, a mermaid must follow a singular, absolute rule. She must win the unconditional love of a human and marry him. Only then can his soul flow into her, granting her immortality. Earning a soul requires Seraphina to abandon her safe utopia for a world where her survival depends entirely on the heart of another. It is a transition from a guaranteed life to a high-stakes gamble. The opportunity arrives during a violent storm. Seraphina rescues Prince Eric from a sinking vessel, dragging him to the safety of a temple beach. In that moment of rescue, she decides she cannot return to her soulless life. To cross the barrier between worlds, she seeks out the sea witch. The path is dangerous, filled with grabbing polyps and bubbling mud, leading to a house built of bleached bones. The sea witch's contract is a brutal ledger. Seraphina provides her voice and endures constant physical agony. The returns, a shared soul through marriage or dissolution. This physical cost is permanent. Every step feels like walking on sharp knives. Seraphina agrees. The witch takes her payment, and Seraphina's ability to speak or sing vanishes instantly. This first sacrifice reveals the lopsided nature of the magic. Seraphina has surrendered her greatest natural gift and her physical peace for nothing more than a chance to compete for her life. At the palace, Seraphina maintains a facade of grace. She dances for the prince, moving as lightly as a bird, even as the fire in her feet grows more intense with every step. But her silence creates a vacuum of information. The prince is in love with a memory, the girl from the temple he saw upon waking, whom he mistakenly believes is his true savior. Seraphina is trapped by the terms of her own deal. By trading her voice for legs, she gave up the only tool capable of correcting the prince's misunderstanding. Without the ability to tell her story, her physical presence and her suffering are invisible to the one person who needs to see them. The situation reaches a crisis when the prince is sent to marry a princess from a neighboring kingdom to secure a political alliance. The tragedy deepens when the prince realizes this new bride is the same girl from the temple. To him, this is destiny. To Seraphina, it is a death sentence. Because the prince has married another, the contract dictates that Seraphina will turn into sea foam the moment the sun rises. The window for her survival has officially closed. Even so, she serves the wedding party on the ship, holding the bride's train and celebrating the union that effectively ends her life. This is the emotional weight of her second price, the requirement to support the very joy that ensures her own destruction. As the wedding ship grows dark, Seraphina stands on the deck, watching the eastern horizon for the first light of dawn. Her sisters suddenly appear from the waves, their long hair cut short. They have made their own trade with the witch to offer Seraphina one final exit. They hand her a magical knife. If she kills the prince before sunrise, his blood will transform her back into a mermaid. She can return to the sea, her pain will vanish, and she will live out her 300 years. The choice is absolute. She can commit murder to reclaim her life, or she can die so that the prince can remain happy in his new marriage. She enters the cabin where the prince sleeps, looks at him one last time, and realizes she cannot do it. She returns to the deck and hurls the knife into the ocean. By choosing to die rather than kill, Seraphina breaks the transactional logic of the witch. She proves that her love for the prince is entirely separate from her desire to save herself. As she leaps into the water, she doesn't dissolve. She is lifted up by the daughters of the air, spirits who exist in the warmth of the sun rather than the cold of the sea. These spirits explain that a soul isn't a commodity to be acquired through a contract. It is the result of selfless choices made in the face of impossible odds. Because Seraphina chose the prince's life over her own, the Sea King uses his magic to honor her sacrifice. He restores her life and her sister's hair, reuniting the family on the shore as Seraphina finally achieves the human form she earned. Seraphina's journey suggests that a soul is built through the refusal to cause harm, even when your own existence is the cost. It is the final, uncontracted reward for a love that asks for nothing in return.